Bree Simulated here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today we're going ahead and doing the second part to the speed build that I uploaded last week. So if you are watching my Get Famous LP, by now you would have already seen the house in pretty good detail. But basically this house is a modern sort of esque mansion, a really fancy modern mansion that I am using in my Get Famous LP. So basically what you need to know if you haven't watched the first part, which is fine, the first part is basically just the exterior, some of the landscaping, the front and backyard, the fences, like getting up the perimeter, and doing the exterior of the house and the floor plan. So basically what you need to know if you're not watching the LP is that this house has a couple, a girl and a male sim. Lakeisha Love is our main character. She's the sim we started out as, and she is an actress, and she's a very talented actress. She's very famous, and she has a partner called Princeton. And basically what happened with Princeton is that they had an affair together. Basically he had a wife and children, and he had an affair with Lakeisha and got her pregnant. She gave birth to twins, Chloe and Noah. And yeah, so two twin kids, boy and girl, and she then found out that he had a wife and children. So she decided not to tell him. She decided to keep it a secret, keep it to herself, and she even tried to keep her kids a secret from the general population, from her fans and whatnot, because she didn't want Princeton to find out. She didn't want to ruin his life. She felt responsible. She went to his house and saw that he had a lovely wife and kids and a lovely house and a job and whatnot. And she didn't want to ruin that for him. So she thought, I've got enough money. I can take care of it myself. And things were fine for a while until one day, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but somehow his wife found out, kicked him out, divorced him. He was out in the streets and he went to his friend who lived in DeSalle Valley and said, hey mate, I've just been kicked out of home. My wife divorced me. Like, it's a real mess. Can you help me out? And that friend didn't want to have him in his house because his wife didn't approve of the fact that he'd had an affair, didn't want him around their kids and whatnot, just the same as his wife didn't want him there. So this friend said, look, I'm building some properties in DeSalle Valley in the other neighborhood. I've got a trailer there that I'm using whilst I'm on site building and whatnot. You can go ahead and take this fold out bed and sleep in there. So he was sleeping in there whilst the other house was being built, sleeping in this trailer, and his friend would come during the day. Maybe he was helping his friend out with some of the building occasionally. But other than that, he was just sitting there being depressed, thinking about his life choices. And it was just a coincidence that the house right next door on the block of land belonged to Lakeisha. So Lakeisha had gone ahead and bought one of these lots that was being built in this newly renovated area. Like, there was like 3 houses in the area. And her friend had just had a falling out. Michaela had moved into the other house on the plot, and she was living alone with her twins, which was really stressful. They required a lot of attention, and she was busy all the time recording videos and doing acting gigs. And the worst thing was that she had to keep them a secret. So anytime she was recording and a baby started crying, she had to attend to them straight away, not just because they needed her help or whatever, but because if there was crying in the background of her videos, then people would know that she had kids. So it just made things 10 times harder. She couldn't go out in public with them. There were just so many complications. And it wasn't long before Princeton, I think he went ahead and tried to use our washing line to hang out his washing because the dryer broke or something. And then he saw in the background these kids. Lakeisha had left them outside and it started to rain while she was filming a video or something. And he was like, girl, what is up? You can't just leave your kids here alone. And he went inside the house, and then he eventually saw Lakeisha and said, hey, like, I'm living in the trailer. I saw your kids outside. And then he realized it was her, the girl he had slept with. And he realized that the kids looked a lot like him, because they did, especially the little boy is like an exact copy of him. And so then they eventually went ahead and made up. At first they had a fight, then they made up. He moved in to help take care of the kids because he wanted to take some responsibility. He'd already missed out on quite a few years of their life, so he really wanted to make up for that. His wife had already divorced him, why not try and make things work with this girl? And then he found out she was famous, she's an actress, and like all this, they had to keep their relationship a secret. They started sleeping in the same bed together. It was all just a big mess. And also at this time, Lakeisha had another lover, which was Judd. And yeah, all her friendships fell apart, her relationships, her life was so complicated. But eventually over time healed all the wounds, and she went ahead and got in more of a public relationship with him, and she was able to announce her children to the world, which was very well received. At first, Princeton did receive some hate, and they actually did end up having some paparazzi coming around, some fans coming, everyone trying to take photos of them and trying to take photos of their kids, which they really didn't like. And that brings us to the reason as to why they've gone ahead and built and bought this house. So, as I discussed in the beginning of the last part, this house is very secure. There are no windows on the side of the house. There are only windows where they are blocked by the fence. Like, people wouldn't be able to take photos because they'd be too far away because they'd be on the outside of the fence. Every window has curtains or blinds or both, and there are hedges and all different kinds of things blocking view from the paparazzi. So now the kids are safe. Nobody's going to take photos of them or videos or make opinion pieces about them, and they're free to live their lives more privately now, even though they were so private for so long, then they were extremely public. This is basically Lakeisha and Princeton trying to find the great medium between being private, like secret private, and public, like completely out there public, and then that good mix where they can go ahead and be open with their fans and be open with the media, but still have their own privacy, which is a really hard balance to find, I feel. But they found it now that they live in this beautiful house. So basically, I'm just going ahead and setting up the twins' room. They have like a shared room, kind of, not really. Like, they have separate bedrooms, but they have a shared bathroom, which I thought would be a really cool idea. The whole time they were living in the old house, there was one bathroom between the four of them, so them two sharing a bathroom just seems natural. And you will see I've set up a little nursery there, and this is coming out, I think this is coming out after Lakeisha gave birth, or maybe just after you guys have found out she's pregnant. But anyway, we do have a baby expecting on the way, so I went ahead and made a real neutral plain nursery that we can go ahead and add to and amend if we want. But yeah, that nursery is in there, and I'm so excited for that. And their bedroom is to the right of the screen, and it is really luxurious with a walk-in wardrobe, all for Lakeisha, of course, with an ensuite bathroom, which is so luxurious, and their big, huge bedroom, and it is just amazing. Right now I'm working on the kitchen, which is one of my favorite parts of the house. I just think it suits them really well. And also, every now and then you'll see me adding in some dog stuff because this family does have a Dalmatian called Champ. I was eventually going to give them a cat, but it didn't really end up working out. I think just a dog is fine for them because they already sort of struggle to have enough time to take care of Champ because they all are so busy. Like I said, the kids wanted to be really private. They wanted to grow up kind of sheltered from the media, but they do have a bit of influence in the drama club. So they do some acting, they do some performances and stuff like that. So, you know, the family is open to the idea of fame, but I think Lakeisha sort of just wants only her to be famous, if that makes sense. So that was sort of my inspiration with the house. We're trying to keep it really private, especially the living area where everyone is going to be the most. I didn't want it to be heaps open. There aren't really that many windows, and it's just an area they can all retreat to, same as their bedrooms, but a lot of their bedrooms do have some more windows and whatnot, but everything is all safe and secure. And yeah, I just want to address something else, which is completely unrelated to the build. I think I've talked about most of the build now, but when I was going to film this, I think I addressed this in the last voiceover. I didn't get to do a voiceover for the whole thing because I had a lot of dramas going on at the time, but it basically consolidates this idea that whenever I went to film this build, something would happen that would take my attention away from it, which is why it is compiled of many clips. Usually my builds are done in 1 or 2 clips, so you'll only see 1 or 2 fades in and out between like scenes, but this one has a bunch and they vary in length, because bad things just kept on happening while I was trying to build this build. So I talk about all these things on Twitter in real time as they happen. That's where I like to vent to you guys and just talk to you guys, record things and whatnot. But basically, like, things would just keep on happening. And one of the major things that happened was that I deleted my game. Basically, what happened was, if you follow me on Twitter, you'd know that my roommate got a new computer. And before we were sort of sharing a computer, like whenever they weren't home, I was allowed to use the computer to record my videos and whatnot. But I had like my own little folder, and that was all I was allowed to really do on the computer because obviously it was theirs. They didn't want me to mess with their files or anything like that. So I would just use it to record, edit, and upload videos, and that was it, right? And I was fine with that. I was so grateful that I could use their computer because it was amazing compared to the laptop I was filming on before. So this was all happening, and then my roommate decided to buy a new computer because theirs was sort of like, this computer is great for Sims. It is almost overpowered for Sims. Like, it's great. But for some of the games they like to play, it just wasn't quite good enough, and like, games are improving in graphics, and I don't know. They just needed a new computer for the games that they wanted to play. So I went ahead and took their old computer because they wanted to get a new one, and if not, they were just gonna sort of keep it there. Like, they didn't really have anyone to sell it to. They didn't really want to sell it. So they said, you can have it. And I basically have their computer now. I have their computer came with a new keyboard and mouse, but they don't like it. And you might hear them a little bit more in my videos because they are mechanical keyboard and mouse, whereas my last ones were not. So that's the main reason why they didn't want them, because we're not really into mechanical, but I'm fine with it because it was free. And yeah, so they have a new computer. I have the old computer, and I have a new keyboard and mouse. And I also went ahead and bought a new screen because they kept their old screen and bought a new screen as well. But one day I'll have to go ahead and do a setup video for you guys, but I think I might want to get another screen. Let me know if you think I should. Ever since I see my roommate have a second screen, I just think it would be so useful, especially when I'm recording videos, so I can see the OBS to see that it's recording, see my frame rate, and especially if I ever want to start streaming, which I have been thinking about, I think it would just be super duper beneficial to have a second screen, even if it was a vertical screen. So if you have two screens, let me know what you do. Like, how did you come about that? Do you think it's better? Why? Like, what are the pros and cons? Like, let me know. But yeah, I'm just waiting to finalize my setup. I want to get a new mouse pad and just some more like decoration, because before this desk I used to use it for my studying, and now I can't really because there's not enough room. So yeah, I need to like rethink everything. But basically, my roommate goes ahead and moves all of their files off of the computer, and I noticed, I was like, damn, like, there's still not a lot of storage on here, because I only take up a little bit of the storage with my videos and with my Sims. Like, I don't have anything else installed on the computer, and they uninstalled most of their stuff. And I said, hey, like, there's still not much room. Like, I'm still getting the free up storage message. And they said, oh, my save files might still be on there. So we went ahead and put them on a hard drive so they could put them on their computer. And I went ahead and deleted all the save files off of the computer, which was like 20 gig. And I was like, wow, like, okay. Deleted them all. I go ahead to load up this build to film the second part of it, and I open up The Sims 4, and it's taking a while. It's been kind of weird and laggy and like, and I click on The Sims 4, open it up, and you know how usually it comes up with your mods thing, like the pre-screen, like, we don't pre-screen for mods, make sure they're safe, blah, blah, blah. It didn't come up with that, and I thought, okay, like, whatever. And I went to click load game, but there was no option. There was only the play button. There was no load game. There was no new game. You could just click play. And I was like, oh, damn. Where are my saves? And I just start freaking out. I don't know what's going on. And then I eventually realized that when I deleted his saves, I also deleted all of my saves. And not just that, but I deleted the entirety of The Sims 4. So I had to go ahead on a rescue mission. At first, I thought if I just re-put the files onto the computer, it would work, but you have to put them in a specific location, which you guys are probably like, duh, like, but I didn't really know anything about this, so I just put the files back on from the hard drive, and I put them onto the D drive instead of on the C drive, and I put them there, and then I went ahead and repaired the game, loaded it up, still didn't work. I tried all these other things, and it wasn't working, and then I realized that it wouldn't load from the D drive. They had to be on the C drive for some weird reason. So I went ahead on the Sims forums, figured it out, and I eventually figured out a way to go ahead and use the hard drive to put them back on the C drive and repair my game, all that, and then I could finally play The Sims 4 again with my save files. But for a hot minute there, I was thinking like, oh my goodness, I've lost my Get Famous LP. I only had like 2 parts left to film of it and this build. So I was like, damn, I've lost that. I've lost my 100 baby challenge. I've lost all my other save files. I've lost my Not So Berry challenge. I've lost all my builds I haven't uploaded to the gallery. And I was just freaking out. But I eventually did figure it out, and it all worked out pretty well after that. But man, I was stressed. And the only issue now is that the game thinks everything is new. So I don't know if I sort of, like, if it was present at the beginning of this video, but basically I had the yellow squares, and there still are some, because some of the things are like unlockable things that I can't click on without unlocking them. And yeah, my game thought everything was new and created team and build by kept on giving me tips and like offering me the tutorial and all this stuff. And it was super dumb on my part. I should have realized that when I was deleting saves, I would have been deleting my own as well, not just theirs. But I fixed it. It took me like a good hour. And yeah, just like things like that. Things kept on going wrong whenever I went to film this build. I had an issue with my real estate company thing, sort of. And they went ahead and basically, I think I got someone fired. And I got a new like real estate person who's managing our property now. And there was a big kerfuffle with that. I had to go ahead and send them all of the repairs and maintenance all again because I guess the last people mustn't have passed it on to her. So I had to go ahead and do that. And just like every time I would literally click record and I would go to load up the game. My game got deleted. I'd click record, start building, and I'd get an email from my real estate agent. And it would just be like all these bad things would keep on happening. And the reason why I couldn't record a voiceover for the last part was because my family were here because my little brother had to get a surgery and they live not here. They had to travel here for the hospital. And so they were staying here because only one parent can stay in the hospital and stuff like that. And they were staying here whilst they were waiting to get some results back. So that way they didn't go all the way home and have to come all the way back and stuff like that. So all this messy stuff kept on happening every time I tried to film, edit, record, do anything with this build. So I'm so glad that it's over in an extent. And I think the build does sort of show that I was in a bit of a stressful state. Like, I think it's not perfect. I think it's perfect for the family, but I don't think many people will like this in their game. But I might be wrong. You let me know. But yeah, I had a lot of fun filming this build regardless. I learned a lot of lessons and learned from my mistakes whilst doing this build. So I hope you learn from my mistakes too. Don't do this, okay? Don't do what I did. And yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you liked it better that we could do a voiceover this time. Although it seemed like a lot of you guys liked the build last time, regardless of it having no voiceover. So let me know, would you prefer if I didn't do voiceovers? Because that's fine by me. I like voiceovers every now and then so I can tell some stories and just tell you guys what's going on in my life. And I think that's about all I have to say. But yeah, I am a little bit stressed right now. University is going back today and I'm trying to finalize some videos because usually I like to have everything pre-recorded, but I just simply didn't have the opportunity to do that. So I'm really stressed out with uni and schoolwork and YouTube and whatnot. So if videos are a bit sporadic, that's why. But until next time, I hope you have a very snazzy day and I'll see you all soon. Bye guys!